Murder.
Chalk outlines.
DNA tests.
Blood.
Anonymous tip.
Beheadings and disembowelments.
Fingerprints.
The yellow tape that they have on crime scenes.
Witness statements.
Stakeouts with my cop friend and we drink coffee. UV lights that they can see on. 5 minutes.
True crime in about 5 minutes. Belle is going to tell us an entire story that would normally go for a couple of hours, if not about an hour, in 5 minutes. Ready to go, Belle?
Ready.
And of course, the additional part of the pod is a new thing where Detective Ben and Liam try and work it out from the start.
Yeah.
It's a fun little side quest.
I'll see how you go with this one. We're going back to the 80s, 1983, over in the UK today. Small content warning. There is mention of suicide and also violence against women in this one. So 1983, Colette, 16-year-old girl, was walking to her boyfriend's house at night and unfortunately did not make it there. She told her mum, "I won't be long. I'll see you soon." Her mum bid her farewell and never saw her alive again. Very, very sad. So she was found actually the following morning after the whole family spent the whole night trying to find her. And they did find her. Well, her brother actually found her the following morning. And she was deceased and left in a field, which is just like the worst possible way, I think, especially for your mum and your family to find you like that.
Heavy.
So it was a very, very brutal murder. And obviously everybody put everything into trying to find out who had done this. Unfortunately, it went unsolved for like 25 years. So obviously the 80s, not a lot of DNA. They're going off fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. They did go off people's like eyewitness statements as well. So people saying, "I saw a guy with a beard."
Which are never reliable.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like literally people were saying, "I saw a guy with a beard," and then the next person said, "I saw a guy with no beard and no hair," and the next person said, "I saw a guy wearing glasses." So you're given all these different sightings.
Well, unless that was a man wearing a fake beard and glasses.
And this is the thing, it did take place around Halloween. So then it was...
Okay, well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, so then it was like, oh, well, maybe he did have a costume on. And you got to go through all these different steps of just going back and forth with people saying, "I saw this, I saw that." So they did go off all of these. But the one thing that was consistent is there was a car that was stolen earlier that day and someone reported it stolen. And people did see that car being driven and sped around the area where she was murdered. So they were going off this car and they did find it later abandoned a few days later, and they kept that car, they kept hold of the car, they found the car keys, they held all that. So we're going 25 years later. So this is talking 2008, 2009. DNA has obviously taken a great leap here. So fortunately, the cops reopened the case and they went back to the car, they went back to the car keys, and they found the fingerprints, they got some DNA, and we can all thank, those online...
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, I don't want to say like the name, but like all of them where you submit your DNA and it says your family tree. And because of all of that, it has really, really helped. And I think I've said it before, it's really helped crime gets solved, especially from decades and decades ago. So they used the DNA and the fingerprints and they started searching all these like DNA databases with the cops and everything, and they found one match, and it was a man who was 20 years old in 2009. He matched the DNA. And he was done in the DNA database just for a traffic infringement. So he was just taken in and they got some DNA and fingerprints and, just done
Why
for
would
that.
they get his DNA for
I
a
don't
traffic
know.
infringement?
It must have been something pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it must
All
have
right,
been.
mate, here's a jar. In you go.
Yeah.
Must have been
So they
skirting
got
around
his-
a bit.
They got his DNA. Now, obviously, he's 20 years old. This is 25 years after the crime.
Right.
So then they go, well, let's look at your family members. Firstly, your dad, Paul. Paul's 50 years old. Kind of matches up with the timeline. They start questioning into, okay, well, where was Paul? Does he match the DNA? They take him for DNA testing. He's a match. So this is all because of like online DNA and stuff. So it's incredible. They take Paul in. Paul's 50 now.
I reckon the dad did it.
and he's like unwell, he's diabetic, he's really unhealthy, but he's a loving family man. And everybody says, no, Paul's great, he's awesome, he's got a good job, he's got a good family, he loves his kids, he would never do this. They take him in, he obviously says, no, I'm innocent, tries to blame his brother, who's actually deceased at this point. So they were like, well, could be your brother, but it's most likely you. Match up the DNA, it's him. He rocks up to court and says, yeah, no, actually it was me.
Seriously?
I'm guilty. Yeah. So he says, yeah, no, I just did it. Just stalked out that street for a bit. She was walking by herself and I just did it on a whim.
It was like an impulse thing.
Yep. No reason. None at all. Just left her in the field. He had stolen that car. It was absolutely him. He said it was him. They obviously put him into jail for life.
But how many years in between again?
25.
25 years. So he'd lived a whole life by this point.
Yeah,
He had a
of
job, he
course.
had kids, everything. He'd lived his whole life. He got put in for life, and not even a year later, they did find him dead in his cell.
Oh, and a buzzer beater. Let's go.
Bell goes bang.
I saw Ben looking at the screen and I was like, he's counting down, he's counting down. So yeah, he did just hide his prescription drugs for his diabetes and everything. And they found him.
Wow.
passed away.
That is like a horrible story, but
is,
well
and-
told, and I'm impressed with the
Oh, thank you.
timing. Couldn't have planned that better.
It's a short one, but it's really, really sad because, again, like we just said, he had 25 years of freedom.
Yeah.
And she was only 16.
She got nothing, yeah.
And he had no real reason to do it. And then not even a year into his sentencing, he's like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm done.
Yeah. No,
Well,
Incredible.
All right, we'll catch you in the next one.